light, a lot of people are somewhat not aware that they're supposed to be doing that. So there's sensitization going on still by the Federal Mortgage Bank and PMBs as well. Now, the Federal Mortgage Bank gives this loan through mortgage banks. The mortgage banks act as middlemen between you and the Federal Mortgage Bank. The Federal Mortgage Bank have said, as long as you are a contributor to the NHF scheme, you've been contributing for at least 6 months, 2.5% of your basic has been contributed to the central pool of funds, you are eligible to apply for the loan. And they can give you a maximum of 15 million naira over a maximum tenure of 30 years at a rate of 6%. Now, a little explanation to the tenure. The tenure varies from person to person. So for you, for me to know my tenure, I subtract my age from 60. You know, it's a standard that at the age of 60, everybody should retire, you know. So you subtract your age from 60, that gives you your tenure. So with X number of years, you have 15 million naira to pay at 6% interest. Having said that, now what they require of you to do is open an account with a mortgage bank, then make your application through the mortgage bank for the NHF loan. You make your application through the mortgage bank. Now, there are two basic things needed for this. I've mentioned one, that you need to be a contributor. The other thing is that you must be buying a house which is standing, already built, and then that property must have a registered title document, whether it's a C of O, or deed of conveyance, or deed of rectification, or sublease. It must have a registered title document. Now, once that is in place, then other documents can be collected from you for onward submission to the Federal Mortgage Bank by City Code or whatever other PNB. Now, in this process, it's a mortgage now. You are taking money from, you are applying to get money from the Federal Mortgage Bank to buy a house. Now, it's like, it's a loan, but it's a mortgage loan. And in this case, the property which you are buying stands as the collateral. So at some point in the process, the Federal Mortgage Bank would require the original title documents of the property. But at the initial stage of the application, a photocopy of it will suffice. And when that photocopy comes in, at the PMB level, we will do a search. At City Code level, we will do a search on the title document to be sure that it is registered and free of encumbrance. That is just to say that it's not tied to any loan elsewhere, that it's not been used as a collateral for any other loan. So that's what it means to be free from all encumbrance. Now, so a search will be done on that title. The property which you want with the process. Now, for the for how much you can apply, and that is that you cannot use more than 1/3 of your income to make your repayment. Now, the repayment will be made monthly after the loan has been approved and disbursed. Then your repayment will begin. And they're saying that you cannot use more than 1/3 of your income to make your repayments. So this is a basic rule for what they call the affordability test, to determine what an individual can apply for. So you may have Mr. A, who is X years old, and Mrs. B, who is also X years old. X standing for the same figure now, all right? They are both same age, but Mr. A earns 1 million naira, and Mrs. B, who is earning, who is of the same age as Mr. A, is earning 7 to apply for the same amount because of that factor of the age. The age factor, which comes comes into play in relation to not being able to use more than 1/3 of your income. I'm just trying to paint a picture to all of us so we can understand what the affordability rule is, and how you can just to understand it a little as easily as you can. So having said that, I've talked about being a contributor. I've talked about the title document, and I've talked about the affordability. As for the list, as for the documents which you need to provide for the loan, perhaps that could come at another time. But let's talk about having to buy a property. Now, if you're buying a property from an individual, or let's say an estate, let's give Abe, let's say Abe is a developer and owns an estate. So, and the name of the estate is Richard Abe Estate, and you're buying from him. Now, I'm about to talk about the equity contribution now, and you're buying a property from Abe. Now, Abe ordinarily, and you tell Abe, okay, look, I want to buy this 4-bedroom duplex, and he tells you the 4-bedroom duplex is 35 million naira. Now, NHF can only give you 15 million, right? Maximum of 15 million. We have checked your affordability, and we've seen that you can actually go for that 15 million. Now, there's also a requirement to say that you provide a 10% equity contribution, which he mentioned earlier, but not as in regards to the National Housing Fund. We talked about 20 and 30% or thereabout. For the NHF loan, you provide 10% minimum, 10% of the loan amount. So if you're applying for 15 million naira, you are providing 1.5 million. If you're applying for 10 million naira, you're providing 1 million naira. But back to buying from Richard Abe Estate. So now he says the property is 35 million. And you told him, well, I'm going to apply for NHF, and 15 million is going to come from the Federal Mortgage Bank through my PMB. So I will have, there's a difference of 20 million. And he says, okay, yeah, no problem, we can do that. But you have to make an equity contribution. You have to show me, that you really want to buy. You need to make a deposit of 20%. So that's going to be 7 million, right? 35 million, 20% of that. So that's going to be 7 million. Now, you have made an equity contribution to him, 7 million. You would not need to provide another to the bank, okay? Because that covers up for it. Now, the difference, aside from that 7 million, you need to have a payment plan for the other 20 minus 7, that's 14, right? Yeah, 13, sorry. So for the other 13 million, so there would have to be a payment plan on how you will pay the balance 13 million while your process is going on to get 15 million from the Federal Mortgage Bank, which will be like the final payment the developer will get. So at this point, I would like to just drop it a bit and see if anybody has any questions to ask. Thank you very much. I'm not hearing you, Richard.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Very good. So thank you very much for the detailed and comprehensive overview that you've given us about accessing the NHF. I'm sure people have questions
Hello?
to. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good. So I'm sure people have questions to ask. If you have questions to ask, I want you to hit by the raise hand button on this Zoom interface, and then I would call you one after the other. I'm sure there are quite a number of questions already at the chat room. But then let me get on flood. On flood, I can see your hand raised. Unmute yourself and let's have your question. We'll take two questions now, two questions that are on similar now, so that we can get over to TT. And after TT's session, we'll come back to take some more questions, just to ensure that people are not lost at any point of Ambassador's presentation. So let's have you unmute yourself on floor. Go ahead.
Hello, good evening. Ibi, thank you for the very enlightening presentation you made. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. My question is, must the property be for residential? Can it also be for rentals, instead of doing this process for a residential building, like a building I'm going to stay with my family? Can I also do it for rental, like a room, a block of rooms worth that amount that I can afford?
Okay, yes. It can, you don't, the idea is that you're going to live in the house, but then you can do it and not live in it. But it must be a residential building. You cannot take this loan for a commercial building.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but you can take it as you want to make an investment to have something additional. So at the end of the day, you just want to rent it out to get income. Having said that, you can make your application only with one unit of property. So they would not accept a block of 4-bedroom flats, a block of 4 units of 3-bedroom flats. Do we understand that?
Yeah.
It's a block, and then you have 4 units of 3 bedrooms. They would not accept that application. What they would accept is 1 unit of 3 bedroom.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So just before the second question, let us know that this meeting is being recorded. The recording would be on our YouTube page. That is Lagos Real Estate Academy. Just search for Lagos Real Estate Academy. You would be able to catch up with the replay on our YouTube on Lagos Real Estate Academy. And then also the link for the replay would be on my Instagram bio. So, and because I'm not even really sure I'm paying as much attention, because I'm trying to sort out questions and stuff. So I myself still need to go back to listen to it. Let me take Nikki's question. Is it Nikki's question? Nikki's question is, can you ask what the process will be for people who do not reside in Nigeria? Let's take that question and then we'll go over to TT.
For those,
Don't worry, we'll be able to take as many questions after TT's session. Go ahead.
For those who do not live in Nigeria and live abroad, there are 2 categories I would want to talk about briefly. First, you've been working in Nigeria, then you moved over to the States, Canada, Ukraine, Istanbul, wherever you are. Second, you've not worked in Nigeria and you're living abroad. Now, I said I'm using that because if you've worked in Nigeria, you likely have an NHF number already, right? If you have not worked in Nigeria at all, then you definitely do not have an NHF number. However, whatever the case, whether you have or not, the point is you need a registered NHF number. Yes, you can apply if you live abroad, but then you need to have a a functioning residential address here in Nigeria, because you cannot make the application with your Colorado address. No, you cannot. You must make the application with an address here in Nigeria. You must have a running bank account, an account domiciled in a Nigerian bank, running in Naira, you know. So with those, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can work out.
So thank you very much. I'm thinking we might need 2 Sundays to run this thing, because there are lots and lots of questions on the chat room. Not to even talk about people whose hands are currently still being raised. So we might still need another Sunday to answer, whereby that may perhaps next week, whereby we just come and all would be to ask a B and ask TT. I would appeal to them. But I would see what we can work out between ourselves, and then we'll be so that we'll be able to take as many questions, because we don't want to overstretch tonight's meeting. In the meantime, let's get TT to come over. Thank you, AB. We'll still come back to you. Hope you don't mind, because there are quite a number of questions now. We want to see
I
what
can
number
see
of
them there a
questions
lot.
we can take. Thank you very much, AB. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Yeah. Darkly, where we take all those questions. How do we get our NHF number and the likes? All right, Titi, over to you. Titi, would you have to reintroduce yourself to us? You just hit the ground running. Over to you. Go ahead, Titi.
Okay, good evening, everyone, once again.
Good evening.
Thank you, ABCDO. ABCDO has done a very good job. I think he has broken down like the basic things I would love to talk about in terms of
Maybe
age,
do
things
you
you need to
mind reintroducing yourself to us?
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please go ahead, please.
Okay, so the basic things you need to consider, like ABCDO has said, your age matters, your income matters, the property you want to purchase matters, then the tenure for the facility matters. Okay, so basically what we do, you don't have to have an account with me for 6 months before I can process a facility for you, because we have it at the back of our mind that the property would not wait for you. Everybody wants a property and everybody wants to move. It's usually the highest bidder for cash at hand, and then we move. But we won't say because you want to pay for a property now, we won't do our due diligence. We have some procedures we need to carry out. First is you open an account with us. Once your account has been opened, we'll run a credit check on you as an individual. If the company is repaying, some people, we have cases whereby company owners pay themselves salary. Would also run a check on that company as well to know if the company is leveraged anywhere. It's not like if you're leveraged, you can't access a facility. It's just that we would like to know to what extent your exposure is, because there's a rule of thumb for us in the industry. We can't take more than 33% of your income. That's one third that Elisida mentioned earlier. So the basic thing you can do as an individual is, even if you can even know by yourself how much you can be repaying on a monthly basis. For instance, I'm earning 100,000 naira. 33% of my salary automatically comes to 33,000 naira. That means that my repayment should not exceed 33,000 naira on a monthly basis. However, you have to consider that if you have other loans somewhere, if you have other loans running, you have to consider that, meaning that there's something called a debt to income ratio, that's DTI. Your debt to income must not exceed 33. So if you have other loans anywhere and it is already close to 30,000, know that automatically whatever you want to access from us will drop. There's something called equity contribution. The minimum we do, we have 3 categories. We have the employed, we have self-employed, and we have the diaspora clients. But for employed clients, we do 20% equity, while we can finance up to 80%. But that 80% is still dependent on your income. For business people, the equity contribution is 35%, while we can finance up to 65%. But like I said, your income still would play a very big role, and your age will also determine. Then for diaspora clients, the minimum equity we do for them is 40%, and we can finance
About
up to
value.
60%.
What is value proposition?
Please, sorry, Titi, please enable me
Yes,
to
sir.
mute everyone, and then you would unmute yourself so that we can have some
Okay.
decorum. Do you mind?
Yeah.
All right, Titi, you can
Okay.
unmute yourself and go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so with that, so most people come and say, oh, I want a property of 50 million. The first question is, how old are you? ABCD mentioned something earlier, your age minus 60, which is fine. But for us, we also consider 2 years ahead of retirement. We don't want you to be paying a mortgage as at your retirement stage. So we will do 58 instead of 60. So if, for instance, I'm 30 now, I can get up to 20 years, because as a retirement, I'm still far from retirement, because 30 plus 20 years, maximum tenure would be 20 years. If we do 20 to my 30, that's 50 years. I still have 10 years to run. But if I'm 38, and I want a 20-year mortgage, it can be considered. But if I'm 40, highest I'll give you is 18 years, because I would not want you to be repaying a facility at the age of 59, 60, because we expect that at that point you're supposed to be resting, relaxing, enjoying yourself. So those are the things we put into consideration. So most times when people approach us, we'll do the search on the individual, or your credit bureau check and everything. We do a legal search on the property that you want to purchase to know if it's encumbered. And there are 2 levels to our searches. The first one is to know if it's encumbered and if it is good. There's something called chatting. We'll do a chatting report. If the chatting should come back bad, we would definitely advise you we can't go ahead. So let's not even stress it, because some people, there's something called deed of rectification, but let's not go into details. It's very, very, very technical. So once the chatting comes back bad, we'll just let you know we can't deal. But if it can be rectified beforehand, before everything, and you come back with your registered deed of rectification and everything, we would move ahead. Then we have the valuation. So after all that has been done, our process, it takes like a month, everything to be done. Then before disbursement, the little we usually give the vendor. That's the vendor cooperating with us as a mortgage bank now, because there's some documents to require from them to execute for us. But some vendors usually prove to be stubborn. So once you sign that document for us, we'll let you know that, oh, you're doing this. Then we do something called verification in Alausa, Lagos State. I would say mortgage is pretty interesting, and I won't use the word stressful, but you need to be patient when it comes to mortgages, because it requires a lot of paperwork. It requires a lot of paperwork. I'll tell you to give me your bank statement for 1 year, your 6 months pay slip, employment letter, work ID, and all of that. Not everybody has that patience, but you really need to be patient in order for us to work together. It is actually like a symbiotic relationship. You can't do without me, I can't do without you. So your cooperation would help the mortgage process. So really, basically, like I said, equity contribution is basic. Your age determines, your income also determines. Please, you cannot be earning 200,000 naira and tell me you want to buy a property of 30 million, except you're going to be doing maybe 80% equity contribution, and age is still on your side. Because we have times whereby agents will call and say, why can't my client access this? I've given you the basic point. Age, your income, very key, and then your equity will also determine. So I think that's it for now, and I'll wait for questions to come on.
Thank you very much, Titi, for your overview. Now, before we take questions, I particularly have one question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Um, Home-based mortgage bank is in partnership with DNJ, I think,
Yes,
for
sir.
their duplex Vantage Court 2. Now, is it particularly any simpler to access mortgage to buy Vantage Court 2? By the way, Vantage Court 2 is a 3-bedroom duplex with BQ within a built-up neighborhood at Bogije Lekki Expressway. Now,
Yeah.
that's for people who don't know. Now, is it any particularly simpler, given that you already have a working relationship with DNJ as a credible developer?
Mm-hmm. Is it what? I
That's
didn't
the
get that question.
Is it any particularly simpler, the process to obtain mortgage to
Well,
purchase Vantage Court 2?
okay, yeah, to an extent it is. Reason being that we have the title document to that project. But however, I don't know if I'm supposed to be disclosing it here, but because that place is pretty big, we don't know if it's just one title covering the entire expanse of land. Do
Yeah.
you get? But the one we did, the bungalow section, we have the title document to that. You get? So if we're going to be financing the terrace ones now or the duplexes, if there's another title document to it, we'll definitely carry out our search again on that side. The chatting too. Then the chatting is peculiar to one person. We're not going to do chatting on the entire expanse of land. Do you understand? It is if you, Richard, is coming now to buy from that project, we'll do a chatting on your own property, not on everybody. The reason why that is done is because we'll need that for the survey when we want to perfect title for you. You understand? We do title perfection, and that title, and like you rightly said, the property you're purchasing is usually the collateral. So all the steps to perfecting the title is what we will do. So that chatting comes in handy when we want to do the survey. The survey is needed to do perfection for you. So it's only you what we are particular about, not the entire estate
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
So it is pretty similar, but don't forget that I will still do my due diligence on the individual coming to purchase, which is the normal credit search. I'll still profile the individual if the person can access it. But every other thing in relation to DNG, we are fine with them. They're good.
Yeah. So for like a layman on this Zoom chat now, on this Zoom conversation, who perhaps is not so conversant with those technical details like charting, like much technical details, can you give a checklist requirement using Vantage Court 2, for example, as a case study? Can you give us the basic checklist requirements that should be met to access mortgage financing to buy Vantage Court 2? Can you give us a basic checklist requirement?
Okay, so like I already said, for DNG, they are good. We have their title document. What we'll be doing will be the chatting and the valuation. On the person's unit, that aside, you obviously open an account with us. But I don't know the unit you're purchasing, but I will definitely need to do a chatting on your unit that you're purchasing as an individual. Then I'll do evaluation on your property. Then the other things we'll be needing from the client, your bank statement, your pay slip, you open an account, definitely your profile as an individual. I'll profile you, and then I'll let you know how much you'll be eligible for once I'm done. And don't forget that you're doing nothing less than 20% equity as an employed person. You're doing nothing less than 20% equity. Then for diaspora customers, they'll be doing nothing less than 40%. We need your employment letter or letter of promotion, introduction letter from your company. I think those are the basic things I would really require from the individual.
All right. Thank you very
Then
much.
there's something we usually do. There's something called the repayment schedule and the closing costs. We give that to you at the initial stage so that you can have an idea of what you'll be repaying back on a monthly basis and what we expect from you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm so sorry. I wish the participants are asking most of the questions, but then there's one particularly last question I want to ask on my own end before I open the floor for participants to ask their own questions. Now, this question is being asked by Vivian Roland. She's asking, this mortgage policy, is it applicable to those who do personal business alone? Applicable to those who do personal business, or is just for salary earners alone?
We have for business people, but at the moment there's a hold on it. That's why I didn't really emphasize on business. We have a structure for the business people, but for now there's a hold on business. It's not like we don't do business. And like I mentioned earlier, I said 35% equity for business people. If at all we're going to consider them, 35%. But for now it's on hold. Yes.
So there is no means by which they can access it at the moment, right?
If they are paying themselves salary, I mentioned that as well. If their business is structured, if they pay themselves salary on a monthly basis, would access them with that.
Okay. So if their business is structured such that they pay themselves salary, they can access it. So you can lift the limit. That's very good. Thank you very much. Episidor, can you answer that question from your own end too? For NHF, can business owners, can self-employed people, can they access the NHF?
Absolutely, they can.
So what in like 1 or 2 minutes, what are the requirements for a business owner, self-employed, to access NHF?
For the business owners, what we would ask for is proof of registration of company. Of course, you need to have your NHF number already, 1-year bank statements, and tax clearance. Okay, these are the things that vary from the general. For us, we will be asking for your registration, company registration, 1-year bank statement. Those are the basic differences. For us, the equity pretty much still remains same, but then where the developer is requesting for something more than the 10% basic requirement from the Federal Mortgage Bank for the loan amount, then you have to make that. So that's it basically, but yes, you can, to answer the question directly.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to look through the hands that are raised in the amongst the participants. I'm going to take one question. These are one. So I'll take one question from the participants whose hands are raised. Ebisidor, I want you to look at the chat room and look at questions that you may particularly want to answer. And also, Titi, I want you to check your chat room and check out for questions that you may want to answer particularly. But then in the meantime, please, both should still please listen to questions from, let me take who, Tricia Inalu. Please, can you unmute yourself and let's have your question.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Richard. Thank you for the opportunity of this webinar. It's just a little recap, more like, yes, just a brief recap that Mr. Ebi spoke about, where he talked about, he used the example of 35 million. And so because NHF can only give max of 15M, I didn't quite get the illustration he gave where he said how the clients can access the balance fund from probably the mortgage bank to complete the payments. Thank you.
Okay, the mortgage bank is not giving you any balance. All we are giving you is the 15 million, right? The balance of 20 million is coming from you to the developer. And I said the developer will definitely ask for some down payment, 10, 20, 30% for some of them, So whatever he asks for as his initial payment, you have to pay that to him. And I used 20% as an example, which was 7 million out of 35. Now, I said of that 7 million that has been paid, there's still balance you are to pay directly to him, 13 million naira. Now you need to have a payment plan. For us at City Coop, we request for that payment plan. you have with the developer to see that, okay, at such time, for some people, the payment plan is monthly, for some, it's quarterly, for some, they do like every 6 months, or whatever it is. We would just want to see that payment plan, that you have something structured on meeting that target. So that's it. I hope I
Thank
answered
you.
the question.
I'm sure you did. All right, Adejuwon, can you unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question?
Hi, good evening. Yes, my question goes, it's not particularly a question, it's just exciting clarification.
Ah, your network is kind of shaky. I think you have a poor reception.
Currently, I'm actually looking out houses I want to buy. And I can hear you very clearly. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Hello? Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay,
go
so
ahead,
what are the next steps basically? Do I just walk into your office? What are the next steps? What are the next steps? I know I've been contributing. I used to work in the bank, so definitely I must have been contributing to the NHF, but I don't think I have. There was never a time I was advised with my NHF number. I'd like to activate next steps. I've seen a couple of properties I'd like to, take up the market, buy basically. I know I think about some 20 plus years on my side, so I just want to know what the next steps are basically. What do I need to do first? Thank you.
Can I go ahead and respond to that?
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay. What's the next step? Walk to your HR, the HR in your company. Just go to them and tell them you want your NHF number. They have it on the database in your company wherever you work. If they can't retrieve it for you for any reason, then what you need to do is just go to a federal mortgage bank and tell them you would like to have your number. The Federal Mortgage Bank have a code which you type in, but I'm not sure it's exactly functional right now. I even saw it online again today, but I don't have that number of it. But if you could go online as well, check up Federal Mortgage Bank website, you definitely run into the code. You can just type in on your phone, and then you could retrieve your NHF number. But then just walk into an NHF office, wherever office, and then tell them you want your number. If you work on the island, go to their office at Mama and Kontagora. If you work on the mainland, go to the office at Ikeja. If you're in Apapa, they have an Apapa office. So just find out. You'll be fine.
All right.
Then
Thank you very much.
once you get that number, you go to a primary mortgage bank. For instance, you come to City Code, you open your account. Once your account is opened, then we go ahead to put your documents together and package you for onward application to the Federal Mortgage Bank, and then the loan process has begun.
Was your question answered? Adejuwon?
You would not believe that I went off for 30 seconds, but that is fine. I think I'll just wrote my question to you on IG. The network is quite bad at the moment. Yes.
Okay, I think you have kind of poor reception. Okay, we'll talk about it much later, right? We'll talk about that much later. Titi, do you have any question you want to particularly answer from the chat room? Perhaps you go ahead.
So I actually responded, chatting them. Someone asked, do we finance Nigerian diaspora? Yes, we do.
If you don't have to answer the ones, you don't have to talk about the ones you've answered. Is there any particular one you've not answered that you want to take?
I don't think so. Okay, someone asked what chatting is.
Okay.
Let me answer that. Chatting is knowing if the property you're purchasing is free from any government acquisition, because some places have been marked out, have been marked by government for other development in future. So if you're buying a property that's already been marked, it's as good as no property at all, because down the line they can come break that house and all of that. So all those things is just to avoid all of those things. That's what chatting is for basically. And then also to make sure that the coordinates on the property are in place when it's time to do your survey and perfect your title.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's take some more questions. Ebi, Titi, can we have some like more 5 minutes to take questions?
It's fine.
Oh, Titi, that question, that
Can
answer
I,
is.
can I, can I respond to a question here from Blessing
Okay, please
Okudo
go ahead.
Duga?
Please go ahead.
I have subscribed to an off-plan property. I have made more than 20% equity. This is it. For off-plan properties, where I work, the PMB I'm with, we do not go with off-plan applications. We've had bad experiences with it because when the application is made, the Federal Mortgage Bank will come from Abuja and they will do their physical inspection. God help us and God help you. By the time they come and there's nothing on ground, whatever time you've processed, it's wasted and they will just put that file. So we advise people not to go with off plan. Let it be something that's already standing and working. Or otherwise, you'll be patient with your application to make sure that the building has gone to a certain level before you make payments and so I hope I answered that.
Thank you very much. All right, let's have Bukola Atangiri. Bukola, your hands have been raised. Go ahead with your question. You can unmute yourself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bukola Atangiri. Thank you for this time, Mr. Richard, Mr. AB, and Titi. Now, my question is this really. The pricing, house pricing right now, it's not so favorable in quotes for the middle class. The average house out there is about 35, 40 million naira. And with what you have said, which I already know basically, is NHF is only going to give you 15 million naira. So you have, say for instance, you saved about 10 million naira. You have 10 million. NHF gives you 15, that's 25. You still have 15 more, to pay. Thus, is there any other facility you can access? Because there's really no house that is in the range of 25, 30, basically. So is there any other thing that you can access that can help you pay for like the balance, or that's just it? Once you are not in the range of 15, 20, then that's it. Because the 15 million, it's really not, it's not going anywhere really with the kind of range that, with the kind of price range that are on houses right now. That and this question is to Mr. Richard. You guys help out a lot, when you get to advertise houses on your page, it helps you to know what is going on. But I'm wondering, everybody is at Lekki. We can't all live in Lekki. Really, we can't all live in Lekki. There's two related. There's first start. I mean, can you people please just branch out? Because you guys some of us don't have the time, but like the Vantage Court you're talking about, if it was probably in Festac or in Amodofe, or I would have probably have called you by now. But we can't all live in Lekki. Can we get more people to just come this way, like maybe Yaba or Surulere or some? I'm sure there are things there, but I can't even find out for myself because I don't even have the time to go and check. That's it. Thank you very much once again.
All right, let me take that before AB answers. I'll be deliberate about. We have quite a number of properties on the mainland. I'll just be deliberate about putting them up now. It's just that people are quite hugely interested in Lekki and Ibej Lekki area. That's duly noted. From next week, you start seeing mainland properties. Over to you, Mr. AB, and then we'll take questions from Bimbola Kintoye. Please stay tuned.
Okay. First of all, madam, your concern is very quite valid, but then again, you do have properties within the range of 16, 18, 20, 25 million. It's a matter of choice now. What exactly do you want? What are you looking for? And in most cases, then location now plays a very, 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 very important role. Like they would say in economics, location, location, location. So you could get something for, I know certain estates you could get something for 17 million, but it's not finished. It's carcass, you know. I know a developer who actually just finished selling out some 3-bedroom apartments, bungalows for 18 point something million. Finished. But the location now would be the challenge for many. But there are a lot of people who got into it. A number of properties, and they are sold out, you know. So my point is, you do have properties for those lesser ones, but where you choose to have to go for the 35 and 40, all well and good. For an additional facility you could key into to make up for that, then you would come for what we call the in-house loan, which pretty much runs at commercial rates, you know. So you take the in-house loan, you pay for that. When the NHF comes out, you probably do some knockoff, and you know, it could just work. That's how it goes.
Thank you very much. And this is to also mention to us that just like he ended, City could also have commercial mortgage offers, right? Aside the
Yes,
NHF,
yes,
yeah, interest and also other terms. You understand? And also, home-based mortgage also runs the NHF loan. So, if you can't meet up with the requirements of NHF, or perhaps you're not a contributor, you can apply for the commercial the mortgage at commercial rate from either of them. So let's take questions from Bimbola Kinto. You can go ahead and unmute Bimbola.
Okay, thank you very much. Richard, good job. Thank you so much for this. So my question is, can I combine the NHF with another mortgage? Or are there rules that you cannot combine two loans? And on the case of off-plan, that's the first question. Second question is on properties. So there's a property I'm considering at the moment, but it's not completed. But I won't call it off-plan. Let's say it's like 75% completed, and work is ongoing actually. So would NHF be able to consider that, or you want it to be 100% completed before? Then number three, how long really does the process take? Can we have an idea, please?
Okay, so
Thank you.
I want Titi to take first and third question, and then Abi will take the second question. Titi, please, can you go ahead and she will remind you of the second question. Titi, go ahead and take the first and third question, please.
Sorry, please. Sorry. Hope you won't mind. Could you go over the first question again? Let me, because
Okay,
I was actually
summarily,
trying to read through.
Bimbola, please go ahead. First and third.
Okay. I think my first question was, can I combine the NHF with another, mortgage loan? So in the office where I work, I can access some loan, but it's not
Okay.
much either. So, but to get a
Mm.
property of like 40 million, I need to combine the loans. So I'm just wondering.
Okay. So the question is, if I'm giving you my mortgage and you're having NHF, the problem will be who would have the title. That's where the question will be. The title is very key.
So if I take an
FMBN will. Oh,
okay, I hear you. If I take an
FMBN,
NHF,
yeah.
the
Okay,
title
so
goes to
because
me.
ours is faster, because ours is faster. Or well, yes, I'll use the word faster because in a month I can do disbursement. I'll have the title at that point. You understand? So you're processing your NHF, and I would like to throw this to AB, and you're processing your NHF, and NHF comes out. NHF knocks out. If probably what we get is 30 million, NHF comes and knocks out 15 million. You have 15 million exposure with me. You have 15 million exposure with FMBN. At that point, the problem will be title.
The FMBN will not even give you the money without having the title in the first place. They will not.
So in short, you can't
It will.
combine
No, you
two
cannot
mortgages.
combine two mortgages on the same loan. No, you cannot.
Sorry, what's your third question?
Okay, the third question, I think you answered it. He was like, how long can it take her to access the mortgage loan?
No, the mortgages. I thought she was referring to the NHF, but our mortgage process is 1 month. That's
Uh,
20 working days.
so in 1 month, you can clear everything that needs to be cleared
But
and
that's for
give her.
As
FMBN.
no, that's for
Yeah.
our regular mortgage.
That's
Okay,
for
that
Yeah.
question is
regular.
for FMBN.
Yes, that question is for NHF loan. How long
Okay,
does it take? The
maybe
second question.
go ahead. How long does it take to access NHF, like the standard duration?
Okay, sorry, I wasn't hearing properly. So it takes 6 months to 1 year to get approved. Now, when your application is sent off to Abuja, it goes through a number of it goes through a process with a number of stages, you know. So there's the EMC, there's the MCC, the stage, there's the legal, the final stage is the board, you know, where they sit down to say, okay, this loan is approved. The files, the batches are going to go, all will go through those processes. So it takes some time. But then again, there's also the factor, well, that 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 is it. 6 months to 1 year. I know of a few I know of customers who have gotten it in 7 months. Um, from when they made the application, 7, 8 months it was out. For others, you know, 12 months they got their approval. So
Do you have to know people who knows people before you can get the NHF loan?
well, in a system where everything works, you don't have to know people who know people. You don't have to know people who know people. Once we send your
What about
file in, they have a system. Come again?
with city code? Can it be that seamless? Do you have to know anyone?
No. You don't. You give us your application, we package you, we send you off to the Federal Mortgage Bank. Of course, we follow up on applications we send to them, but then it's not like you have to know someone to get your your application approved. No.
Fantastic. Bimbola, I'm sure your question has been well answered.
I actually I was asking about the property that is 75% completed.
Oh yes, that was the
That
second
given the
question actually.
timeline, yes, given the
Okay,
timeline he mentioned, then it works.
okay,
It
yes.
works.
For
Can I also, if you don't mind, please, do you refinance? Peradventure, I
um,
have a property. I mean, does NHF refinance? That'll be my
there's the
last
NM,
question. Thank you.
there's the NMRC. They do refinancing of loans. So when your NHF loan has run for 6 months, then we put in your application to them for refinancing. Yes, so refinancing is an option that works.
All right, thank you. Let's take two more questions so that we can let Titi and Ebi go. All right. Let's take from Emmanuel Iwunor and my God, there are so many hands raised. But in the meantime, let's have Emmanuel Iwunor and then we'll know how to go from there. Emmanuel.
All right. Hello. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you
I
loud
can.
and clear.
Oh, perfect. First, thank you, Abe and our guest for this forum. I want to ask a couple questions. I'm sure there are people abroad that are really interested in this. I being one of them. And so, what are and this is for both TT and Abe, the additional requirements apart from what you've discussed so far, which are the standard requirement for those who are in Nigeria, but for those who are abroad, what are the additions to that we need to be aware of? So that's one question. Second question is for Abe for the NHL loan. Can you please clarify if it's possible for a Nigerian living abroad to be approved for NHL loan? Um, I mean, a Nigerian with no work history in Nigeria at all. I know you talked about those who have a work history, but for those who don't have one, I'm not sure what your response to that was. So that's number two. Number three, um, one of you mentioned that you run a credit check for individuals applying for loans. I know Nigeria to be a heavily cash society. So how do you do a credit check in Nigeria? So those are the three questions that I have.
Okay.
Who do you want
Maybe
to go
you want to
first?
go first? Okay, Titi, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we run credit checks. Interesting. Nigeria is growing, and it doesn't mean because it's cash for country doesn't mean that there's no credit check. Every proper organization you take a facility from would actually register that on the credit bureau. We have the CRC, we have First Central. You can run it by yourself. You can know what your history is. So credit check can always be done on an individual. Then for Nigerians in diaspora, what we usually require from them, we get them to give us their credit check from over there, from two credit bureaus from there. Usually Equifax and I can't remember the last one right now, but usually two. So and then later it's basically the same thing I'll request from them here. I'll request from them there. The only difference is I'll be getting their credit check from over there because there they do credit small, so you know the person's exposure. It'd be over to you.
Okay, for those with no work history, now it's dicey because obviously they would want it's it's to prioritize those who live and work here, you know, because those are the people generating whatever GDP the company is making, not those who are living abroad per se. Those are the first set of people to be catered for. So it's a tight and dicey one. But for a situation where a person possibly has a registered company, something he could tie to being here for some reason, to say, okay, this is generating some money here. We could look at the situation and see how it works. But I would not want to give a definite yes or no because we meet cases every now and then, and there are little variances from one person to the other, and then we say, okay, we can work with this situation, we can't work with that situation. So it would be at the end of the day to have a proper chat with you or whoever else and then know how we go. If it's going to be an absolute no or an absolute yes.
Okay. Let's take a final question. A final question. And by the way, we're going to come back next week. We're going to come back next week to have some more question and answer time for mortgage. I'll discuss with AB and TTL. Would work something out based and strictly based on their convenience. Work something else to come and take more questions. There are lots and lots of points that are raised that we unfortunately would not be able to take tonight because of time. I would like to take, and by the way, I'll tell you about, okay, in the meantime, let's just take ONC. ONC, please make your question short and let's have
Hi, good evening.
good
Hello,
evening.
good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah, so I have two questions actually. The first one is if you are married and your spouse and yourself have been contributing to NHF, can you both apply together to get a property? And in that case, would you be accessing 15 million or would you be able to access more than that? Then the second question is if you already made a payment for a house and you want to get some sort of refinance using the NHF fund, is there any provision for that to happen? So, for example, a house is 30 million, for example, and you've made a payment of about 25 million, you have 5 million outstanding, and you want to take an NHF loan of 15 million, can you use that difference of about 10 million like as a refinance for the loan and then pay the remaining parts, or is that not allowed?
Okay. All right, I'll take it. Now, first of all, can you and your spouse apply? Yes, you can apply, but not on the same property. You can apply only on different properties because so your offer letter cannot read when you get an offer letter from the developer. Your offer letter cannot read Mr. Idris and Mrs. Funke Atiwali. No, it must be just one person making that application. So you can apply separately for separate properties. Yes, but as a couple joined to one, no, it won't fly. For us, it won't even leave our office. It wouldn't even leave our office because the title document has to carry a name. Then your other question, refinancing with the NHF loan. Now, you have made some payments, but there's still some balance, so you want to knock off. These are the kind of things where it's about having a conversation with the person making the application, and also having a conversation with the developer. You know, if you take it to knock off, did you say you're taking it to knock off a loan already, or you're taking it to make a payment? Hello, who asked that question, please? I didn't get you straight. I need to
I asked the
clarify.
question. So I said in a situation where, for
Yes.
example, a property is 30 million, you've
Yes.
already made a payment of 25 million from your own equity or your own cash, right?
Okay.
And you're applying for the NHF, but you want to access 15 million, pay the developer 5 million,
Five
and then
million.
sort of have that 10 million as, like, the
Okay.
refinancing yourself of what
Okay.
you paid.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Oh, dear Lord, no. Going by the books, no, no. That it won't work. If there's 5 million balance, applying for 15 million, um, what is it? Part of the reason why they started doing things like physical inspection and having evidence of payment is because they found out that people take the loan and divert. People say they want to buy a house, and then they take the loan, and then they go finance a business, and then somewhere the business goes bad, they can't get their money back, and everybody is in the limbo. So it's not something that works. No. ONC. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you.
All right. I think that is it tonight. Like I mentioned earlier, we are going to be coming back next week to take more questions. I don't want people to leave with their questions unanswered. That was never the purpose for which we set up the meeting. I'll work something out definitely with AB and with Titi. But then in the meantime, I really, 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 really want to appreciate you, Titi and AB, from the depth of my heart. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for taking out time, cutting out every other schedule you may, you have on your rota. Thank you very much, and everyone who has taken time to also connect. I want to thank you for coming. Lagos Real Estate Academy is set up to educate the public, educate our audience, to help you make well-guided investment decision in real estate. You cannot make a quality decision better than the quality of information that you have. And that's the reason why Lagos Real Estate Academy is set up. We meet every Sundays, not every Sundays, like fortnightly, except for when we have to spill over to the next week, like we're doing now. By 7 p.m. The details are always on my Instagram IG page. If you're not following me, please follow me on Instagram to get more qualitative information. It is here that we're going to drop anchor tonight, but then if you don't mind, please turn on your camera, snapshot the Zoom interface, and then leave us some goodwill on social media if you're comfortable with that. You can tag me also at Richard Abe. That's my Instagram handle at Richard Abe _ Richard ABE _ Richard as Richard Abe _ You can follow me. Shoot the Zoom interface with your video on. Leave us some goodwill if you're comfortable with that. And thank you very much for tuning in tonight.
If you don't mind, sorry, I'd like to drop my contact in case anybody
very
would
well,
want to.
very well.
Yeah, so
AB,
I'll just put
please,
in my email address.
Okay, and then
my official mail.
Yeah, very well. Do that, and then also Titi. Is Titi still there? I think Titi has dashed out. All right, that's fine. Please leave your email or your Instagram handle, your social media handle on the Zoom interface. People can take it. That is it. Can we have someone give us a closing
Instagram
prayer?
handle again. Sorry. Can you mention your Instagram handle again?
My own, right, is Richard Abe, Richard Abe, Richard ABE _ Richard Abe _ underscore sign, not full underscore spelling. Richard Abe. Just type Richard Abe, you see it. You see me on Instagram. You find me on Instagram. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much. That's it. All right, can we get someone to close out with us? Close out with a prayer for us. We started with prayer. We should also close with prayer, if you don't mind. Who wants to go ahead to do that?
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
We thank you for.
Okay.
We have revivalists here. Okay, let's have Bimbola was going to pray. Bimbola, please go ahead and pray for us. Okay. I think she's busy. Who was going to do that? ONC, go ahead then. ONC, go ahead.
In Jesus' name, Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for this time that we've come to learn more about real estate. Father, we thank you for the knowledge that has been shared today. We ask that you help us to put all these things, to implement all these things, and we ask that you bless our facilitators for pouring out their hearts and answering all our questions sincerely. Father, we ask that you bless each and every one of us and you help us in all our endeavors. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
And we pray that even as we go into the week, you shall be with us and you shall help us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. At this point, I will sign out. Thank you. We'll see you next week to take more questions. And yeah, we'll have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Good to have you.
Regards to Titi left before the ending of the meeting. Regards to her, please.
Yeah, I would call. I'd call and extend your regard. Thank you. So we can go back to watch Champions League final now because I also want to connect. All right. Take care, everyone.